Hello everyone. आप हैं रिया के साथ on Mana TV International. You can watch us live on YUPP network or can subscribe to our Facebook page or YouTube channel as well. Welcome to yet another episode of Healthy Habits. All of us might have heard the phrase, sleep like a baby. But have we ever realized, or do we even know, that most of the cases, babies are not great sleepers also? They need sleep training also in some cases to go through the whole night. And that's what adults also need sometimes. It's very common that over time, we pick up some unhealthy sleep habits that we do not even realize, but we continue following. And those habits, knowingly or unknowingly, have negative impacts on our mind and on our body. So चलिए दोस्तों, आज हम बात करते हैं कुछ हेल्दी स्लीपिंग हैबिट्स की। हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर प्रतिभा फाड़के गुप्ता। Pratibha ji is a PhD in biochemistry, working as a research associate professor in Dayton, Ohio. She is a board-certified drugless practitioner and a holistic expert. Welcome, Pratibha ji. It's so nice to have you again on our show.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you, Mana TV, for giving me this opportunity to come to your show.
So, Pratibha ji, let's start from the basic question. What do we exactly mean by healthy sleeping habits?
It's a very good question you asked, Ria. The getting enough good sleep and can affect how you feel, like, physically and mentally. And also you see that adults usually need more like 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Sometimes people get less than 7 or more than 9 or more than 8 is not that as good. But again, it's a very important. Sleep is so important because it affects your physiological functions, your memory and your metabolism. And also people who have a different preference of sleep, and preference of sleep means that sometimes people have sleep patterns. They have they may have inherited from their families. And all in all, I can say one thing is that, amount of sleep is also important. At the same time, quality of the sleep is important as well. You may see people will be lying down for 8 to 10 hours, but they do not sleep well, right? Or some people sleep 5 hours, they have a very good quality sleep, they're up, right? So there are very, very, different formats of the sleep. So I hope I answered this question to you.
Do you think that sleep is as important as our nutrition and exercise?
You know what? I think you're very, very right. Reason the reason why, because sometimes people go exercise, right? People pay attention to their nutrition, right? But sometimes they don't know, they don't remember the sleep is also one of the part of the nutrition and well-being, basically. So sometimes people get rush. So I think you have a very good question that you asked me. It is quite important.
How does we, what is the good sleep effect? How does that we get all the positiveness of having a good sleep?
So if you have a good night's sleep, or if you have a good, well-deserved sleep, what happens that your body is very, very well capable of responding. Such as, for example, your moods are very good, you're happy and your performance is great and you don't feel tired, you don't feel lazy, and your metabolical system is functional, you're feeling good and mentally and physically at the same time. Your work performance gets better, and also you're very happy and you're talking to people nicely. And if you see that in a lot of cases, Priya, when you see some people who are like very irritable sometimes, and their mood disorders, there may be some reason that they may have not slept well a night before. So all in all, you see that a lot of people do have these kind of consequences. And I can go deep into it more, internally, metabolically, that is also very dangerous. So we can go over with that a little later. So
let's just continue on the same concept. What are the negative effects? You were just saying that there can be a lot of implications that we do not have good sleep. So what exactly you mean by that? What are the negative effects that a body can have with less sleeping?
So, for example, let's say, it's if I can basically more continue what I was just talking about, like a diminished alertness throughout the day, right? Cognitive impairment, right? Motor vehicle accidents. Have you seen that? A lot of people do have that. And that is very dangerous, actually. Poor social and work relationship with others. Impaired and emotional regulations. they're like more like, impaired, right? For example, low mood or fluctuation in moods. They can keep changing their moods, okay? And sometimes, good night's sleep, again, give you good mood, but a good night's sleep, not to have it, it will give you big time mood disturbances. And also, I can tell you one thing, I hope our audience are listening to that, is that sleep habits, if you do not have a good sleep for a continuous time, I can tell you, it linkages to your hypertension, it linkages to your weight gain and diabetes, obesity, and impaired immune function. And that is dangerous, right? So overall, that is what it is very essential to, evaluate your lifestyle, how the lifestyle is important for your sleep habits. Now, again, sleep habit does not necessarily mean that, oh, I slept 8, 9, 10 hours. Sleeping more, sleeping less, it's not that healthy. So you have to identify, evaluate your situation. What exactly is your time period that you can sleep? And that should be a good one, right?
So as you said, the basically the lifestyle definitely affects the way we are sleeping, how many hours we are able to sleep, or we are sleeping with stress or without stress. Other than that, what examples you can give on those activities that basically contribute to not having a good sleep? Like, what are the activities that are disruptive?
Oh, absolutely. Sure. It is just my laughing matter in the sense, because, sometimes we don't realize that these are the reasons for us not to have a good sleep. And we blame ourselves, why I did not get a good sleep. But environment is also important, because wherever you live, wherever you work, whatever you do, I think you have to analyze your situations. There are so many disrupting activities. People don't even realize that. Sometimes you're working late, right? Sometimes until bedtime, correct? Now, most of the people, IT personnel, or, and also your doctors, physicians, and people who are working emergency, they're also lack of sleep because of their duties, right? So they're working until late midnight, right? Some other activities, for example, work, of course, watching TV, late night shows, right? Eating late, right? Sometimes people do eat late, right? And also going to bedroom, very late. Also, sometimes what happens, worrying about something for next day. That also makes you worry, and then you can sleep well, right? Sometimes unhealthy environment. Like, for example, if there is a place where you're not having enough environmental conditions, if it's cold, or it's like a hot, or there is not, there's a light in there, because your melatonin pigment, also gets very disturbed during the day and night time. So that also affects your sleep habits, because brain is also, perceiving that kind of, impact as well. And sometimes what happens, sometimes, Ria, I think there are so many good things I'm going to talk to you all about. And I hope our audience of Mana TV are listening to that. Sometimes people do prefer exercising, right? When they exercise right before going to bed. And that is not a good idea, because your muscle system is still active, right? So when you exercise, you have a lot of muscle activities going on, and your oxygen level is high in your body. So sleeping to a situation will be a really different situation for you. For example, sometimes people drink alcohol, right? Drinking alcohol, that is also, not a good sign of at least 2 hours before. Sometimes people drink too many fluids, right? Let's say water, whatever it is, so they have to get up middle in the night. That disrupt their sleep habit as well. Sometimes they eat large meal, right? Have you ever seen that large meal and your stomach is full, you are not able to sleep? And sometimes that makes you feel, sometimes your sleeping habits is also disturbed by your appetite, indulging yourself into midnight snacks, right? Sometimes we get up in the middle of the night and say, well, I need to go and, take some snacks like that, right? Now, also, sometimes people in the daytime, they do take a naps in between, while you come back from work, you're watching television, you fall asleep on the sofa, and you don't realize that you already slept for an hour, and then your nighttime sleep gets disturbed. And also, for example, if you are taking dinner, right? Sometimes after you feel, sleepy after taking large meal, that's another issue. We have to really understand not to eat too much of food, because I said, okay, I'm going to be just sleepy today. So those are little things, Ria, and these are very casual things. Sometimes we don't realize that. I hope I'm just making. I hope I don't. I'm not making any good comments for people. I hope you don't mind it. But these are all the lifestyle, things, little tricks and tricks that people have to admit that.
And I really agree with you, Pratibha ji. Like, the way, we have seen in the lifestyle, morning hours are always a rush hour, right? We run without having a good breakfast. But then in the night, we come back and then we are actually hungry and we have heavy dinner. I think that may be one of the activity that we are doing unknowingly that is affecting our sleep habits, and that is affecting the way we can have good night's sleep.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So now, with all the discussion, I think we definitely know that good night's sleep is definitely needed. So what are the strategies that we can adopt to have those good night's sleep? I know some of them may be stress relieving, but still, what are the other strategies that you can refer?
Thank you, Ria, for this very good question, like a strategy, and I hope I'm just going to answer this question in a way that, it is not like a corporate meeting where you have to have strategy, and everybody's lifestyle is totally different, and everybody works conditions are totally different, and everybody's age group is different, right? So it basically based on your age group, your work style, and also your health conditions, and also sometimes your environmental conditions, like for example, in current times, the COVID time, a lot of families are staying together, so they may not have enough spaces for people to have a privacy to sleep well, right? And also people are worrying about their jobs, people are worrying about their children, and money wise there are a lot of other aspects of it, more stress, right? That also impacts your lifestyle. But again, for me, so first of all, you have to have a mindset. First of all, you have to really understand, of course, I know this is going to happen. We cannot correct that, but we have to follow up, right? So that mindset needs to be first your priority. For example, doing little meditation on a regular basis, right? So meditation, you may go to a group. I mean, I usually go to a heartfulness meditation center where there's an app as well, right? To download the app, and then you can have, download this app. So this app is really good, so to give you a guided meditation where you're controlling your mind. Believe me not, Ria, I trust this thing. What I'm going to tell you is that usually what happens that when your mind is completely set for doing something, that really impacts your even motor actions, right? So meditation is one of the things that people can do. And there is another thing called Yog Nidra. I'm sure you're probably aware of that. Yog Nidra is basically conscious mind of sleeping habits, creating habits, which is, for example, just in another thing is also, sometimes people say, well, I've been working all week, but I'm going to catch up my sleep on the weekends. No, it's not true. And because body's metabolic system is working 24 hours, right? So you cannot just take it as if like, washing your dishes or washing your laundry once in a week. It is not like that. So you have to understand the mindset is basically not today or tomorrow I will catch up my sleep. No, it is on a daily basis. And also one thing is that, when your mindset is completely mindset, then you know that you are going to make a decision how your sleep habits going to be. And also, for example, if you have heard of Shakespeare, always used to say that, right? In case sleep is the nature's soft nurse, right? So if you have any situation, anything, when you sleep nicely, most of the disease can go away, right, from you like that. So although it is unrealistic expectations from people, but again, you really have to know what exactly you're doing. So once you have a mindset completely done, then you make a decision. Today I'm going to sleep at this time, and sleeping, there are certain things also, some routines that you can develop, right? Like a behavioral techniques, which means that bedtime routine. So for example, if you are deciding that I'm going to be sleeping at this time on a daily basis, no matter what, even if you feel sleepy or not, make the decision, this is my time to sleep today, okay? And get up at the same time every single day. Your mind has a clock, mind has a center, but it gets behavioral changes in your mind. When the brain knows your time is sleeping at this time, you're waking up this time, in 21 days or maybe in 30 days or 90 days, you might develop this good habit of continuing your practical applications of your own habits, right? Now, for example, there is a sleep restriction as well. So if your time is waking up 6:30 in the morning, you better get up 6:30 in the morning. You can say, well, today's a weekend, so I'm going to go and sleep a little late. the body changes are not that drastic. Body takes it everything, brain takes it everything, whereas a good habit or a bad habit is just, trust me, like that, and and also one more important thing I forgot to mention, relaxing. What is
Mhm.
basically thing to relax? Relaxing, such as, for example, music, right? Sometimes people play music around you, right? And music is also very essential. Sometimes people do sleep well. There's a lot of meditation music, there are a lot of relaxing music play in a background, and you can get sleep to that, right?
Uh-huh.
And also sometimes what happens also, one more thing I forgot to mention, that if you are having a difficult time, of course there may be a lot of reasoning,
Yeah.
health conditions, right? Your body is having a little situation, maybe you have a surgery, or you have some other health conditions like hypertension, or your diabetic conditions, where people do have that disturbance as well. So I'm talking about in general, because these are the special cases where doctors will tell you, that what exactly needs to be done. But in general, I'm just giving a little good example of how what the strategies are. Ria, I can tell you one thing. I hope our listeners will take this a good practical application. Keep a journal around you, right? So
Mhm.
for 21 days, on a daily basis, just take it like at least one day at a time. Daily,
Uh-huh.
keep a journal around you. What was your mood that day? And what is your sleep duration? Did you sleep well that day? What was your sleep quality that day? Okay, was there any disturbing activity that day? Or and also sometimes keep journal, and keep a record of it. That particular
Mhm.
day I had this thing happen, that's why I could not sleep, such and such. So you
Right.
can eliminate that activity, right? For example, certain time, this was my sleep disturbing activity. My dog was barking, and maybe your cat was coming to your bed, or things like that, or your children are playing, or you have a job related disturbance, or things
Mhm.
like that, or you could not do much work, or you have your body is hurting, anything related to it, just keep a journaling of that. Then
Right.
you review your sleep journal. Review your sleep journal. Eliminate those distractions in your journal. That this is what it is. This is what my things are. I'm not going to do this again. And also choose the corrective actions. Corrective actions, right? For selected like a sleep deprivation, activities. Okay. So what it means, what are disturbing thing for you? Which is, I'm going to give you a quick example, such as, for example, your most of us keep using our cell phones, correct?
Mhm.
Just keep the cell phone away at least an hour before you sleep. Forget about that. You do little like your meditation, relaxation technique. That might, and now also I mentioned, my previous conversation about yoga nidra, and I
Mhm.
try that a lot, and the reason why I'm just telling you all of these, because I have had a lot of practical application on my own, right? I had a situation, so I had to do that as well. Now, one more thing is that reading a good positive mental attitude books will help you as well. Not
Mm.
magazine, not a gossip and magazines, nothing like that, because that does not give you your brain to perceive the good thoughts in your mind. So if you have good thoughts in your mind, and with the reading books, positive mental attitude books, so what happens, it gives you good mental ability to see that. Or the prayer, a lot of people do prayers, and a lot of people do little meditation. There are a variety of things people can do, and one thing is, I hope I answered this question in an elaborate way, because a lot of people don't know about it. Every time
No,
when you,
definitely.
yeah, it's a very good
Right.
question. Sure, people say, well, I didn't sleep well yesterday. I don't know. And if you ask them, what did you do yesterday? What was the reason why you could not sleep? So if the doctor asked you, you don't know exactly. Well, I don't know
Yeah.
about it, right? So keep a journal record of those things is really good habit. I'm sure it's not very, very applicable for many people, but it's a good practice to do that. That's way you can help other people as well. Back to you.
Right. And listen, Elena, listening to all these benefits of having a good sleep, I definitely see that we undervalue sleeping. We definitely undervalue sleeping. Like, this phrase that, I will catch on my sleep during the weekend. I think that is a general phrase. Like 80% people think about that, like including me. I think that, during the day, during weeks, we have to finish our work, and then weekend will be the time that I can catch up. But I think now I understand that the body is taking that habit of mine negatively, or like the same habit maybe 80% people may be having, that they will want to get that sleep catch up in the weekend. So, Pratibha ji, what are the other, habits we can get to change the sleeping habits? Journal, having the sleep journal is definitely a very, very, very good example. What other things that we can adapt to change the sleeping habits?
Well, another thing also helpful tips, for example, you have to evaluate your environmental conditions around your bed, right? For example,
Okay.
even pillows sometimes they also are very, very essential, correct? So find out a
Mm-hmm.
good pillow which suits to your body, right? And also your curtains. Sometimes what happens, in some cases where people don't have a good thick curtains where you can see the
Right.
lights outside, and also new bedding. Like bedding sometimes may not be good. Sometimes your bed, the comforters, the beds, and things are not proper, right? Or make sure that they are all good, in a way. And sometimes what I usually do that I sleep sometime on a floor where the body
Mm-hmm.
is completely stable and your bed is not moving, right? So
Yes.
sometimes I do that as well. And also these are the corrective actions that this is in our own control, what suits to your lifestyle, right?
Right.
I was just listening to one of the radio stations and one of the videos. I see that one of those famous actor, Raj Kapoor, he used to sleep
Mm-hmm.
on the floor, you know,
Oh.
and because this was his habit, because he is concentrated on that. So one time he went to a hotel, for his all the shootings and things like that out of the country, and they also said that you are not supposed to sleep on the floor because of the guidelines, rules and regulations. But he said it is my habit to sleep on the floor. That's how I sleep better, and this is my sleep habits. So he said, well, we cannot allow you to, but it was a fine for him, but he did still sleep on the bed, on the floor. Reason why? Because some people do have habits, right? And also one more thing, Ria, I hope listeners can adapt this habit as well. If their beds are not proper, there is a one thing called like a cot. If you all know, that it is a wooden bed, which is a hardwood bed, where you can
Mm-hmm.
have a little bedding on the top and try sleeping on that, because sometimes when the bed is moving around, you can get disturbed as well, right? And one more thing I had to mention that there are some people who sleep on the left side, some people sleep on the right side, right? Some people sleep on the back, some people sleep on their stomach, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there is no ideal way, because this is how your habit has been adapted, right? So that is how you sleep, right? So ideally, if you're sleeping on the left side of the body, right? So what happens, your heart is on the left side. So your most of the
Mm-hmm.
organs are working, and functionally, metabolically, you are, more relaxed, because the heart is towards your left side. So what
Okay.
happens? Your heart is rested. So other metabolic organs, which includes your liver and lung and kidneys, everything is working functionally fine. And also on the right side, also if you're sleeping, but you can keep changing your rotation of your left side to the right side, so that you are aware that you are giving a body equal, like equilibrium in your body. So body is rested equally. Some
Okay.
people sleep on the back, right?
Yeah.
If you sleep on the back, that's somehow may be correlated to your, like, sleep apnea, because your body is not completely rested. Your neck is basically lifted up, and your neck is also not properly stable. So
Okay.
your breathing pattern may get disturbed, so you may get disturbance of like snoring or sleep
Okay.
apnea. I mean, although there is no direct correlation, there is nothing like research studies done, maybe they have been, but this is how it can happen. Now, another thing is that sleeping on the stomach is no. Basically,
Okay.
not good at all, because if you're sleeping on your stomach, definitely you are basically disturbing your metabolic organs, and these
Oh,
metabolic
okay.
organs are not going to be functional. And because you are basically, your stomach is basically kind of condensed, and you do not have your breathing pattern, right? Because your lungs will be getting more condensed, like
Right.
they're constricted, right? So you don't have a breathing pattern as well. So ideally, if I am asking people to follow, maybe they can sleep on the left side and the right side, and rotation wise, so they know exactly they are, and basically giving more equilibrium to their body.
Okay.
Yes.
So, sleeping pills or sleep medication, what are your thoughts about taking those, like, people, like, stress is a part of life, so people take those to get a good night's sleep. But what are your advice on taking sleeping pills and medication?
I think Riya is a very good question to ask. If you see in a college students, right? So college students, what they do, as I mentioned last, I think episode, we were talking about the discipline on your daily lifestyle. You have to write
Right.
your schedule, right? You have to write your
Mm-hmm.
schedule. If you write the schedule and in between, you write your sleeping pattern in between, so you can accomplish everything all once. It is not about
Mm-hmm.
completing your homework. It is not about completing your task. It is also about maintaining your health on a regular basis, because body cannot take it that much stress on you as well. So taking a
That's true.
sleeping pill, of course, may be a temporary solution, but not a permanent solution. I've seen a lot of people who take sleeping pill on a daily basis. What happens then, your own body's normal metabolism will not activate, right? So taking
Mm-hmm.
something artificially to your body will say, okay, fine, I'm not going to work on you, right? So body will not generate your own
Oh,
resistance to you. It's because you are taking those action and not listening to your body. When the body is telling you, I'm not able to sleep, so you better take care of me, rather than giving me a pill that will subsidize my impact. And then you have to identify, as I mentioned, that you have to identify your scenario. What is bothering you? Why you are not able to sleep? When you have a journal, you already know these were the
right.
things that were disturbing me. So I'm
Right.
sure sleeping pills can be eliminated. Now, drinking alcohol on a daily basis, a lot of people do that. They might think, might sleep better if they're sleeping, with the alcohol. And in reality, it is not, because
Mm-hmm.
I think I may have mentioned that earlier, that when you drink something which is not the water, then you have a lack of oxygen in your body. So if you have alcohol
Mm-hmm.
in your system, definitely you're lacking in oxygen. So definitely your
Uh-huh.
body will not be performing what they're supposed to do, right? So taking a sleeping pill may be a temporary solution, may be a good thing, or also maybe temporarily. Now, again, if you have a surgery, or if you have any sickness, or if you have conditions and you are really struggling with that, and I'm sure that can help, right? Sleeping pill can help, right? Now, also, Ria, I must mention that, because I
Mm-hmm.
practice mostly holistic, approach. So you have to find out about it. Maybe in some other episodes, we will talk about that. What are the holistic things that they can do for bodies, like maintenance, without any medicines? So taking some, like, other herbs, like a chamomile tea or the green tea, sometimes they can help, right? And eating banana in the night, before you
Oh,
sleep.
okay.
And because it has a potassium in there, so you might get a little bit help there as well. And drinking hot water, right? Drinking hot water may give you a little bit soothing effect. And on the own, if you all know, I'm sure, yeah, you know better than I do, is that taking a little turmeric with the hot water may be a
Mm-hmm.
good sense of, like, taking good healthy habits, right? So a little bit, and again, Ria, I think you probably may agree with me, is that we all listen, right? We all say that we are talking
Yeah.
about, you're talking, we are talking, we are all like conversational thing. But how many people actually take a notes out of that, right? Hey, you know what? Ria was talking about this, Pratibha was talking about that. Let's go take a notes out of that and have these habits implemented in our daily life, right? Sometimes it doesn't happen. Think about that, So I hope our audience who are listening to Mana TV today and with Ria and me, and take some little good practice, and take a little notes about it. What suits the best to your lifestyle, and what is the best thing you can implement. What the thing is, that what we do, we are impacting others as well. Now, think about that, Ria. If you have not slept an overnight, you will never be able to interact with people normally.
That's
Even you
true.
will not react to your children. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm not able to do anything, right? So you're actually making people anger also, right? So that is
Yeah.
all, So, I mean, if we take responsibility of ourselves, this is what we have to do. What happens? You're impacting others as well. And another thing
Hmm.
also, Arya, I think I did not mention that also, like people who are in a task force, for example, frontliner task force people, who are nurses, who are police officers, who are emergency medicine people, who are working late in the night, who are working in the call centers, or who are working in the stores, late night stores, things like that. Those people get affected as well. So their lifestyle is little pattern is a little different. Sleep habit is different in them, right? So, but they have to adapt somehow, to live a lifestyle, right? For then again, if you take a good nutrition, based on the lifestyle, they can compensate based on that. So overall in all, if we are all the nurses of our own body, because we know the situation, we know the problems. If we cannot nurse ourselves, there's no way, nobody else can help you. So the good sentence I can say, Ria, to you is that we are responsible for our own health. There's nobody who is responsible. We all listen, we all do. And in fact, if we do, people might be watching you at the same time. Hey, if Ria can do it, I can do it as well. If Ria is just smiling all the time, I better do that as well, right? So, and then you organize your time, organize your sleep habits, and it will be great. Back to you, Ria.
Lot of good information, Pratibha ji. I think I haven't taken sleep in such a way, like my perspective about sleep has changed a lot today after talking to you. But I would like recommend all the viewers, take all the information that we have got like a buffet, like, just take it as a buffet, pick and choose,
right,
and
right.
Apply it to your body, apply it to your lifestyle the way you like, and definitely it's like a kind of a buffet of good, everything, good information. But I would think, like, applying everything in one shot may give you more stress. So just take one thing at a time, try to make that change, but make it a permanent change, and not just like, try it 2 days and then like, do another 3 days. So make it a permanent change. So that's why, like, the body will get to get positive effects of permanently, like, getting the good night's sleep. So thank you, Pratibha ji. It was such a good information that all the viewers got from you, and definitely me, like, I've never taken sleep in such a way. But what are do you have any last minute advices, like, quick advice on good sleep for the viewers?
Thank you, Ria. I think it's a very, very good question to ask. I think there are a lot of things to do, but number one is called mindset. Mindset means responsibility, because you are responsible for, you don't overlook into that. If the situational thing happens for sleep habits, you have to take your mindset. This is my responsibility to take care of that. Number one. So that way you will find avenues to correct that problem, correct? Number two is that, as you mentioned in our conversation, is that about sleeping pills, right? So sleeping pills may or may not be as essential, but there is some supplements they can adapt into it. Their habits called calcium, magnesium, and magnesium does impact the sleeping habits. So majority of the places where you go, like nurses and other places where people usually take these kind of supplements, calcium, magnesium. And Ria, if they have any audience have any questions, they can ask you the question, or they can send the questions to you. And any of the episodes, we can answer their questions, so we can address those questions as well. But thank you so much for inviting me here.
Definitely, guys. I mean, any questions, any concerns, you can definitely get back to us. You can post us on our Facebook page, and we will love to answer your questions on our next episodes. You can watch us live on YUPP TV, or you can subscribe to our Facebook channel or YouTube channel as well. We would see you in our next episode of Healthy Habits. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Mana TV, and thank you, Ria, for inviting me.